Hello everyone. Today I will discuss a poem written by Judith Wright, and the title of the poem is Bora Ring. So let's first try to know about the poet. Judith Orndell Wright, she was born on 31st May 1915 and died on 25 June 2000. She was an Australian poet, environmentalist and campaigner for Aboriginal land rights. She was also a recipient of the Christopher Brennan Award, and she was also a recipient of the Australian National Living Treasure Award in 1998. Now, you must have seen from the thumbnail and from the title of the poem itself that there is Bora in the title, Bora Ring. So what is Bora? Let's try to know about it. Bora, it is an initiation ceremony of the Aboriginal people of Eastern Australia. I have told in my many videos and mentioned that there are many people in each country. They are the original inhabitants or the indigenous or Aboriginal people of that land. And in USA, in Canada, in India, and in Australia too, you will get that kinds of community. So here the poet has tried to mention that one of the kinds of original people of Eastern Australia who has a custom of Bora. Okay, the word Bora, it also refers to the site on which the initiation is performed, and at such a site, boys having reached puberty, they achieve the status of man. And the initiation ceremony, it differs from Aboriginal culture to culture, but often at a physical level, it also involves sacrification, circumcision, sub-incision, and in some regions, it also adds the removal of a tooth. And during the rites, the youth who were to be initiated, okay, they were taught traditional sacred songs and the secrets of tribes' religious visions, dances, and traditional lore. Besides many different clans, they would also assemble to participate in an initiation ceremony. Women and children, they were not always permitted to be present at the sacred Bora ground where these rituals were undertaken. So I hope from this explanation or interpretation, you might have got to know little bit about the Bora ceremony of original tribes of Eastern Australia. So this is the poetic line. Let me read the poetic line. Bora Ring, the song is gone, the dance is sacred with the dancers in the art, the ritual useless and the tribal story lost in an alien tale. Only the grass stands off to mark the dancing ring, the apple gums, posture and mime a past corroboree, murmur a broken chant. So here I would like to also add that my pronunciation may not up to the standard, so I'm sorry for that. But you can always increase and improve your pronunciation. Please work on it, and I am also working on it. Then another lines are, the hunter is gone, the spear is splintered underground, the painted bodies, a dream that wall breath sleeping and forgot the nomad feeder still, only the rider's heart. Halls at a sightless shadow, an unsaid war that fastened in the blood of the ancient curse, the fear as old as came. Now let's try to know more in detail about the background of the poetry and what the poet has tried to depict and the significance of the poem. The poem Bora Ring, it is about a speaker's nostalgic and sad depiction of her culture. She is one of the indigenous Australians who heartily think about the past with a deep scar on their minds. And in this poem, the speaker has illustrated how cultural songs cannot be heard anymore. The Aboriginal dance at Corroboree and Bora ceremonies is now history. It cannot be seen now. So the poet is also lamenting that his cultures, his traditions, her cultures, rituals, traditions, and folk tales, narratives, these are not properly preserved or observed by this generation or by the present generation. Then she says, when she visits those sites where once Bora Ring were made, she finds it as if nature is lamenting the loss of indigenous people. Their story is now is an alien tale, and the trees, it murmurs, and it also resonates with their broken chant. This discord in their cultural history also makes the speaker thoughtful. The title of the poem, Bora Ring, it also hints at the indigenous initiation ceremony commonly held at sites known as Bora or Bora Ring. And when a boy attained manhood, he had to attend this ceremony in order to be accepted as a man. And in the past, these ceremonies were also held frequently, and these were the focal points of their culture. Besides the poet, Judith Wright has also hinted at this ceremony not to describe how the occasion was observed. Rather, she has highlighted how the cultural gatherings lost their significance after the advent of Europeans. And they had also impregnated their culture into the indigenous people and wiped their values away. And this sense of loss is portrayed throughout the poem. Okay. However, If we talk broadly, then Bora Ring, it is a pre-verse lyric poem written in the form of an elegy on the loss of cultural occasions and values. Then the speaker of the poem has also emotively described how they forgot their ancient values and the glorious past. And they had a culture that was both rich and diverse in itself, and in the history, the events did not take place in their favor. Hence, their indigenous culture lost its significance or importance among the modern people of Australia. The overall poem consists of 4 quatrains or stanzas having 4 lines each. Being a free verse poem, it does not have a set rhyme or meter. The text follows a conversational scheme using which the poet expresses her concern to readers. There is an interesting pattern in the text. The first 2 stanzas are a unit and the following ones another. Wright has also created a contrast between the past and the present. Wright has also made use of the following poetic device in the poem. Let's try to talk about it. First is enjambment. Enjambment, it occurs throughout the text, and in each stanza, Wright has internally connected all the lines by this device. Irony, the poet has also used this device in order to insinuate her sense of loss. It has also occurred in the apple gums posture and mime, a past corroboree, and the painted bodies, a dream the wall has breath, sleeping, and forgot. Alliteration, it also occurs in an alien spear is splinter. So in alliteration, you know the definition, and if you don't know, then you search it from the Google, and you should know about it. So you will get in the poem, so please try to find out and try to write in the exam if it is necessary and if it is relevant. Then personification, the poet also personifies the grass and apple gums in the second stanza. Allusion, then Wright has also alluded to the Aboriginal traditions such as the Bora ring, corroboree and their cultural history in this poem. She has also alluded to the biblical character and Cain in the last line. Then we have onomatopoeia, if I'm not wrong, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. The term murmur contains the use of onomatopoeia. And the simile, now simile, it occurs in the line, the fear as old as Cain, and here the poet refers to Cain's curse. Okay. So I have already told you about the poem. Now let's try to know more about it. Judith Wright's poem Bora Ring, it taps on a number of themes that include Aboriginal culture, identity, loss, injustice, and imperialism. The main idea of the poem, it centers on a sense of loss concerning the status of Aboriginal culture in modern times. Besides, Wright has also expressed her grief throughout the text regarding the loss of the cultural values that once were cherished by her community. This poem is also about how imperialism saved the destiny of indigenous culture. One such was that of the Aboriginal Australians. Their traditional customs and way of living were hampered. They molded themselves into a shape that neither represented their past nor the present. Wright has also described the identity as silent shadow. In this way, the themes are represented in the text. Judith Wright's poem Bora Ring, it is also connected with the traditional initiatory rite, commonly known as Bora, I have already told you. And this name originated from either the site where the ceremony was performed or the bells worn by initiated men. During the ceremony, the indigenous people sang their songs. Men learned these clan songs at this ceremony, The speaker of the poem alludes to these cultural specimens in the first stanza. She has also lamented as she cannot hear those ancient songs or see the old ceremonies of her tribe. The traditional dances stop, and those who gathered to celebrate this venerable episode of their boys' lives are now buried deep in the earth, as those who understood the value of traditions are no more, and these rituals have become useless. And their story, which told of their religious beliefs, cultural diversity, and rich traditions, now sounds like an episode from a foreign tale. Ironically, these tales are the speaker's own, but due to the invasion of Western culture, these stories have become obsolete, which is no longer useful. And in the second stanza of Bora Ring, the poet Wright has created a contrast between the past happenings and the present loss. She has sadly described the current condition with particular emphasis on nature. She has also infused life into the grass and apple gum tree in order to portray how nature laments the loss. The grass raising their heads above Mother Earth marks the sites where the Bora ceremony was performed. Those mounds are now covered with grass, as none is there to dance or perform rituals. There are apple gums. It is a kind of evergreen tree native to Australia. If you don't know, then you can search in the Google, and then you will get the picture, then you will comprehend about the fruit. That mime may pass corroboree, it is a traditional dance ceremony of Aboriginal Australians. And they had also painted their bodies with ritualistic colors and dance in their cultural gatherings known as corroborees. According to the speaker, the nostalgic murmur of lips resonates with the traditional chants of corroboree. Here the poet has also used pathetic fallacy in order to reflect her sense of grief. Traditionally, the indigenous people hunted for living, and they led a nomadic lifestyle, and they never halted at a place for longer. This was a life full of adventure, less of care. Now the hunters are gone. The traditional spears used by men are now shattered, and their remnants are buried with the bygone people. The speaker can remember the painted bodies of the indigenous people. They gathered on cultural occasions, often painting their bodies. According to the speaker, their colorful celebrations are now just a dream, and the world had forgotten about the traditions of indigenous people, like a dream seen during a nap. So through this line, Wright has also tried to limit how quickly people forget their values. Not only that, the nomadic tribes who knew no rest are now standing still. Their feet are poised as they are no more. With these ancient people, their culture also went underneath below the dust of time. And in the last stanza of the poem, Bora Wright has again created a contrast as she had created in the second stanza. Here she has showed a rider, probably the speaker. The rider can also be a metaphorical representation of the poet. She has ridden through her cultural past and halts near the sites where once indigenous people gathered. Her cultural past is like a sightless shadow, a shadow that cannot be seen. It is formless as if at any point it did not exist. Then a word rings heavy in her heart. It can be violence, evil, murder, or anything hearing which one's heart goes numb. This word is related to the ancient curse of the biblical character. Cain, he was the first human-born sinner, and it is believed that the chain of vices began with this ancient act of violence. And by referring to this biblical symbol of evil, the poet has somehow tried to justify the point that what happened with her people was destined to happen, but her heart bubbles in anger, anguish, and angst for those who cruel seekers displanted the innocent man from their roots and snapped their cultural suits. Okay? Okay, so now this is the last lines. Let's try to read. Judith Wright's poem Bora Ring, it has also appeared in a poetry collection by the same title. It was published in 1946, and Wright was an original poet who had voiced her concerns about indigenous culture and rights through her poetry. In this poem, she specifically points at the initiation ceremony of indigenous Australians, and during this rite, boys who attained puberty gathered at a sacred site and were accepted into manhood. The term Bora originated from the site where the rite was performed. Different clans had their unique traditions revolving around the rite, and in Bora Ring, Wright has lamented the loss of these rituals as well as the Aboriginal culture. So I have tried to talk in comprehensive and extensive way. Thank you so much for watching the video. Bye bye.